to Tabula Rasa, bitches.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Allie, and my pronouns are she, her.
My name is Nick, and my pronouns are he, him.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Tabula Rasa, bitches. We're so glad you're here.
In Tabula Rasa, bitches, your two co-hosts discuss and dissect Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that bonded them together so many years ago. In this episode, we'll be discussing Season 2, Episode 4, Inca Mummy Girl, and this episode is an extra special episode because today we'll be talking with our very first special guest!
Woo!
Oh my god, so exciting. And that very special guest is the fabulous unicorn, endlessly dedicated dog mom, dear friend of the pod extraordinaire, friend whose last name I'm terrified I'm going to mispronounce, even though we've been together for 7 years, Jordan DeYoung!
Hi!
Yay! Hello, Jordan.
Hello. Thank you so much for inviting me to join you.
Oh my goodness.
We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I am thrilled to be here. I cannot wait to talk Buffy.
Yay!
And we're so honored you're here to talk Buffy. Sorry, Allie, I talked over you.
no.
Don't let men talk over you.
It's a good lesson. Key takeaway.
Jordan, so what are your pronouns? Where do you live? Tell us all about yourself.
My pronouns are she, her. I currently live in Eastern Tennessee, but don't hold that against me. Don't make any assumptions about me due to that. I don't identify
Hey, Nick lives
or
in South
claim it.
Carolina, so...
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am a new fan to the Buffy series. I never previously watched it growing up, but once Nick started this podcast, I was like, I absolutely have to watch every episode and follow along. So, no, I'm a huge
Oh, I
fan,
love
obviously.
Oh my god, I love that. I love the idea of someone like us being part of your first experience of Buffy.
Yes.
Oh, that's so special.
And
Well, go. Sorry, Jordan.
sh-
Don't let men talk over
I
you.
was
Keep
just
going.
going to say thank you so much for introducing me to it.
Well, what do you think of Buffy so far? Give us your thoughts. You're now what, 16 episodes?
Yes.
That was quick math.
I have
What do
wa-
you
Good
think?
job.
I have watched them
Good job,
all.
Nick.
My husband has watched them with me also. Although I will say I watched Inca Mummy Girl 3 times to prepare. I'm of two minds about it. So obviously it has its like corny 90s elements. Like the punching noises are some of my faves. And like some of it is like silly and cheesy, which I love. But then there's this other side of it that is like super ahead of its time, feminist, like girl power, friendship rocks. Like the overall message is awesome. And I think the characters are really great. And so I have thoroughly enjoyed all of it.
That's awesome. I hear that a lot when people who watched it later in life talk about Buffy. They're like, yeah, the first season's kind of corny, but like it gets better in the second season. And I'm like, I don't see that at all. I have not to like contradict you or anything. It's just so funny the way that like it just like slides by when you've grown up with it. And now I'm going to have to think back and maybe rewatch some of the fight scenes to see if I notice the punching sound.
The punching
Yeah.
sounds just really jump out at me. I don't know why. That's just one of the things I really latch onto. It's like, pshoo, pshoo. It's classic. But yeah, no, and I think when I say like it's corny and can be cheesy, I've heard that too about season 1 is different. It's different when you don't have that nostalgic element to
Yeah,
it and
yeah.
you
For sure,
didn't
for
like
sure.
as watching it for the first time in 2022 when it was produced in the 90s is like it's
Yeah.
very 90s. Like all that jumps out
Oh,
at you
yeah.
more, I think. But I love
when
that.
I went through Charmed,
Oh, yeah.
because I didn't watch it when it was
Yeah, that's
originally
another
aired,
example.
I was like, wow, this is like a shitty Buffy.
Well, you have to, as we go through the episode, as those like classic 90s things come up that Allie and I are just blind to, you have to tell us and be like,
Yes,
LOL, that
definitely.
was so goofy.
I wrote some of them down. My
Good.
notes are so
I'm-
sassy.
Thrilled. Oh,
Excellent.
I have some sassy notes about this one as well.
We welcome all and any sassiness. in this
Excellent.
pod.
Jordan, what is your connection to the podcasting world? I'm fishing here.
Well-
I want you to tell everybody.
That sounds like a leading question, Nicholas.
Obviously, my wonderful friend Nick Mercer hosts this podcast, but I also have a podcast of my own.
Emphasis on wonderful.
Extra wonderful, extra super mega wonderful. I have a podcast of my own. It's called The Podcast Diaries. We started it almost 2 years ago now. So my friend Francis and I decided during the height of quarantine that we were going to reread a book series we loved as teens. It's called The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. A lot of people don't know that that movie is actually based on an 11-book and 7 mini-book series.
That's so many books.
It is a lot of books. It was like 50 or 60 episodes of season 1.
Amazing.
And so we reread them together, like from a 30-year-old perspective. And then we did a season 2 of another Meg Cabot book series. And I'm taking a break for season 3, but Frances is still doing a season 3 with a good friend of hers. They're reading another like super feminist YA series called The Song of the Lioness. And they are doing a great job. The first episode's out. And Nick was one of our only 2 repeat guests on the podcast diaries. So quite a high honor.
I am honored and very lucky. Allie, so there was one night where I was rewatching Buffy, as you know, that's just like an evergreen phrase that I can say. I watched the season 5 finale last night because I wanted some of the badassery. Don't say anything. We can't spoil anything.
But that's an intense episode.
It is.
Just to like jump into.
I'm constant. There was one particular thing I want. I'm not going to say it what I was looking for, but I'll tell you off recording.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much constantly in the middle of a Buffy rewatch, but Jordan in Podcast Diaries was actually a huge inspiration for me. Just seeing her passion for the series and getting to connect with Frances over it and like revisiting a series that clearly meant so much to them. It was really an inspiration for me to text you that one time and be like, Allie, we should do this. We have to do this. We love Buffy.
True.
And we should do something with our love for Buffy. So
I do. I talk about that when people ask me about the podcast. I talk about that all the time. When I was like, yeah, my best friend Nick was like, we should have a Buffy podcast. And I was like, oh God, the last thing I need to do is a podcast. And the more I thought about it, I was like, oh my God, we can't not do this.
Yeah.
To do a Buffy podcast. Was it the same for you, Jordan? How did the idea come to you?
I was just listening to the audiobooks. I was driving a lot for work and I decided, I was like, I'm going to listen to these audiobooks. I love these books as a kid. Like, let's see how it holds up. And I had such different thoughts about them that I had when I read them, like, as a teenager. So, and I texted Frances about it because she and I read them, like, together. And so then the idea was formed. And I actually, I would like to supply something briefly, if I may. So in volume 4 of the Princess Diaries series, Princess in Waiting, there's a diary entry where Princess Mia and her good friend Lily are rating TV shows that are on. And what do you know, here on page 169, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'd like to read this entry.
What? Yes.
So, from Lily. Feminist empowerment at its peak, entertainment at its best. The heroine is a lean, mean vampire-killing machine who worries as much about her immortal soul as she does about messing up her hair. A strong role model for young women, nay, people of both genders and all ages, will benefit from the viewing of this show. All of television should be this good. The fact that this show has for so long been ignored by the Emmys is a travesty.
No shit.
And then, and then Mia rebuttals. If only the Buffster could just find a boyfriend who doesn't need to drink platelets to survive. High point. Anytime there's kissing. Low point, none.
Oh my God.
That is so wild.
And so I just wanted to tie that in, a little way to marry our 2 podcasts.
That's a bananas connection.
Isn't that cute?
Oh my God,
So
I love that.
So
that will 100% be the audiogram for this episode.
I
love that.
I was so excited when I remembered that existed, and I had to dig around to find it, but I was very glad I did.
Yeah, worth the find.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Wow.
That's so perfect.
What a connection. That feels so right. It really does.
Also a perfect review.
Agreed.
For sure.
Yeah, Meg Cabot. Yes, Meg. You
Good
really
job, Meg.
clocked it, didn't you?
She did.
I always heard really good things about that series.
It's amazing.
I mean, every time I heard it described, it's absolutely up my alley. I just didn't actually read it, so
It's fab.
I bet I'd still enjoy it.
Highly recommend.
Well, if you ever do a read through Allie, I know of a really great podcast that did a listen and review, and it had at least one guest on twice who is super smart and insightful. So,
And not to brag, but we did interview Meg Cabot on our podcast if you are interested in
Shut
hearing.
up.
yeah, isn't that nuts?
Yes, we did get to interview her. It was pretty cool.
They tweeted
That's
at her,
amazing.
and then yeah.
That is why you tweet at celebrities, because you never
know.
That's fantastic. I mean, I even just get excited when a celebrity likes my tweet.
Absolutely.
I get
It's
excited
exciting.
when other podcasts like our tweets. P.S. Shout out to Buffy gays. Love you.
Love you, Buffy gays. Hi.
But
We love our podcast
yeah,
friends.
if a actual Buffy person ever interacted with us, I would cease to exist.
I know. I feel like we've got a pretty good shot with Nicholas Brendan. Old Nicky is pretty in touch with his fans. So.
Oh, good. Well, Nicholas Brendan, I'm sorry for all the hate on Xander. It's mostly deserved.
Is that Xander?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I have more to say about Xander.
I have more to say, especially about this episode. Allie, I think that might be a good segue.
Segu?
Whatever. Fuck you.
Sigu.
Sigu, I will Sigu into the episode summary.
Whatever.
As usual, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers beyond this episode. And in fact, we'll be extra careful because our fabulous guest host is new to Buffy. I love that. But today we'll discuss this episode, spoilers and all. So if you want to rewatch the episode, pause and go do that. All right. It's foreign exchange student time at Sunnydale High, and Buffy is hosting a male student from South America. Xander isn't thrilled until it seems Buffy's actually hosting a girl, not a boy. Unbeknownst to the Scoobies, this girl, who takes on the name Ampata, is an ancient Incan mummy who was sacrificed by her people. She's brought back to life and must drain the life force of other people in order to remain alive. Xander quickly charms Ampata with his goofiness, and she agrees to go with him to the upcoming World Culture Dance. Oof. Cultures aren't themes. But anyway, more bodies are discovered, and Buffy and Giles realize that Ampata is the mummy. Just as Willow is about to become Ampata's next victim, Xander offers himself in her place. Ampata hesitates just long enough to quickly age and turn to dust. The next day, Xander bemoans his awful luck in love. Fair. And Buffy points out that Ampata may have done bad things, but she also had horrible things done to her. And this summary was not translated from Buffy Guide. I quote, "I did this shit myself." And by I it's Nick. Nick did that shit himself.
Excellent
so good job,
summary, Nick.
Thank you. It took me far too long, but, you know. We did it.
Summarizing things is an art, for sure.
And I'm not an artist, so.
How dare you?
Okay, who's kicking us off? I have a note right at the start, but actually, I'm just going to jump in.
Go for it.
It's only because it's the first shot. Buffy
Okay.
is wearing some fabulous sunglasses that I don't think we've seen before. We've seen the style before, not those sunglasses
ones.
though, and they match her shirt perfectly. And just
That is indeed my second note. Love the sunglasses.
Damn, you
my
have a note
first
before me.
one, the first one, like before the episode had barely even started, I said, "All right, let's see how this one aged."
oh,
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
I noticed that at some point they switched from like a random voice to Giles's voice reading the like in every generation, and I don't know when that happened, but I
It was
noticed
the start of season 2.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know if they did that when it originally aired, but yeah, it was. I think from season 2 onward, it does
Gotcha.
that.
And Jordan, that is an insightful note because in season 2, episode 1, which has not been released yet, we noticed that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you can cut
So-
that.
No, don't cut it. Keep
No,
it.
no, no,
Keep it. That's
no.
nice. Yeah. Very
I might say
Along
things
the
that
same
y'all have already
lines.
said, I guess, because I haven't heard it. Also, speaking of clothes, Cordelia's outfit I thought at the museum was very
Always.
cute.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it always on point?
She's so on
It is
point.
always on
Icon.
point.
Icon.
Speaking of the museum, I don't know if you guys are Bones fans, but the outside absolutely looks like the Jeffersonian from Bones, and the inside looks like the actual DC Smithsonian. So I have no idea where they actually filmed. Probably somewhere in LA.
Oh,
But
I would be
I don't know.
willing to bet that Nick has not seen Bones.
All right. Okay. So
I haven't seen Bones either, to be fair.
You are missing out on like 12 seasons of David Boreanaz.
Oh, right. He's
I-
on that. He's Angel,
Yeah, he
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. I regularly get made fun of, mostly rightfully so, by my friends for never having watched TV and movies that most people have. Actually, Allie, Jordan and I were just in San Francisco,
Yes, you were.
and we watched. It was my first time. Cut out the fact that it was my first time. I don't want people to know. Well, now it's going to be weird to cut it out. Whatever. I watched Cruel Intentions for the first time.
Ooh.
That movie
Did
held
not
up
age super
so
well, but
bad.
spicy. Yeah.
I loved it as a teenager. And we watched it again. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's awful.
Funnily enough, Nick, I first saw that movie, I believe, with your sister when she was
What?
nannying over the summer. And it was definitely
What?
one of those things that I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to be watching this, but I'm not going to stop this train
Yeah,
because it was
definitely not.
exciting to me. I didn't see the whole thing. I think I caught like some of it. And then later I rewatched and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this, like incest, not incest, stoof. It's interesting.
Yeah, just clear sexual assault. It's not great. It's not great.
Yucky.
So the Scoobies are, well, Xander, Willow, Buffy are walking into the museum discussing the exchange program that's going to happen, and Buffy and they get to talking about Xander specifically, and I thought this quote was funny from him. He goes, "My dad tried to send me to some Armenians once. Does that count?"
I wrote that down too.
Oh, poor Xander.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Oh, man.
He also says about the museum that I loved, promise human sacrifice, deliver old pots and pans. And that made me laugh because it felt like the idea of going to a museum versus actually going to a museum.
For sure. Yeah, and then I have a quote from Xander that now, even though I watched the episode just this morning, I forget the context. He says, "Yeah, I'm irrational that way." What was he irrational about?
He's usually pretty irrational, so could apply to any number of things.
I am a Xander apologist.
Same.
And I appreciate it when I hear Nick shitting all over him every episode and you defend him. This episode was rough for Xander. And I'll say more about my thoughts on that at the end. But this was a rough
I
Xander
was thinking
episode.
to myself before we recorded, there's some dialogue that's super cringy from him,
and,
but I'm only gonna mention it. I'm just gonna put out my. I feel like I'm the I don't know. I'm not gonna be the negative Nancy. I'm just gonna throw out when we get there. I'm only gonna throw out the one
differing
blanket.
opinions.
Yikes.
Make for interesting conversation.
Allie balances me out usually, and I very much appreciate it.
But today we'll gang up on you. It's fine.
Well,
so one of the students who we've never met before and won't meet again is kind of poking at one of the artifacts, and Buffy's like, I should probably go stop that. And Willow goes, hey, maybe not. Maybe, aggressive approach isn't the right thing. And so Willow goes to talk to him, and Buffy says to Xander, I don't always solve things with violence, right? And Xander says, the important thing is you believe that.
I was noticing in this episode especially that it seems like in most episodes, especially these kind of fillery episodes, like standalone a little bit, it feels like the problem initiator is almost always male, which I appreciate because it's true to life. Like the only one I can think of where it wasn't was the one where the girl was invisible or whatever. I'm sure I'm forgetting something.
Out of mind, out of sight.
But typically it's a boy who's fucking everything up.
That's a good point. I mean, the witch was a
yes.
girl. But yeah, that I would say still probably the majority.
Yeah,
I mean, we just watched School Hard, and Spike hardcore instigated that. So
I have a crush on Spike. I know literally one episode of him.
Not,
and I love him. I can't wait to see more.
That's pretty spot on.
Go with your instincts.
Okay.
They are correct.
I have him called in my notes Weirdo Rodney. I never say just Rodney. I say Weirdo Rodney. I don't know why I started doing that. But as he's like scraping something off of somebody goes over and he growls at them.
Yeah.
And I thought it was great. I'm going to start growling at people because that's a great way to get people to leave you alone very quickly.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of our sweet, sweet friend Tessa Seal when she was growing up, and she used to make cat noises at people.
I was about to say it's like that weird girl in school who would hiss at people.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, Tessa.
No, Tessa's fully aware of it, and she pokes fun at herself for that, but she did genuinely hiss at people, and but she would also. Conversely, if you were being sweet and like rubbing her head, she would also purr at you. So,
well, that's great.
I know. And she is also a very smart, intelligent, well-spoken medical researcher. So, like,
PhD.
PhD student.
PhD. Yeah.
So it's a very funny picture of her.
Oh, full circle.
But also, she used to hiss at people.
So. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say I audibly gasped at the mummy. Like, she is jarring looking. Like, I know it's a mummy, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah, and that's like super open. Yeah. I feel like today it would maybe they would have it open, but it would be covered with like plexiglass or something like that. It's just like, I mean, honestly, this whole episode is really the museum's fault.
Yeah.
Come on. You should not be able to just like reach in there, especially after the tour guide is like, blah, 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 cursed object, blah, blah, blah. and then they just like have it open.
I have so many questions about security cameras or lack thereof, and just the ease with which various characters come back and grab things from a traveling exhibit
at all hours.
Put things back together.
Like did
what?
someone sell that footage of the mummy coming to life, like to the National Enquirer? Like, did somebody make a lot of money that day? Because they have to have security cameras. I mean, clearly they're not great on security, but at least a couple.
Yeah.
And I was thinking too, when Rodney pulls the like disc out from the mummy's hands, he can't get it in the first 2 seconds and literally just yanks it like a man and breaks it. And it's just like, that is such a man thing to do.
You know what? That's a good point, because I feel like a woman would have gone in, like, softly extricated the hands off of the...
Tried for 10 more seconds at least.
Yeah, not weird.
Yeah, and maybe not
breaks it right away.
Yeah, because also the disc itself is probably really fragile.
Clearly.
And that's exactly what he does. He immediately breaks it. Yeah, cursed object? Sweet. Let me touch it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at the point the tour guide has given the spiel about mummy girl sacrificed. Willow is like, oh, I hope she gets a happy ending. She did not get a happy ending. They all walk off. Yeah, Weirdo Rodney comes back. He tries to steal the thing, breaks it, and then Mummy comes to life and sucks the life out of him.
Second audible gasp for me when it opens its non-existent
I was just gonna say,
ew, those empty eye sockets.
Oh,
gross.
I wrote in my notes in all caps, barf.
The missing eyes. Yeah.
Unpleasant.
Big shivers.
Yeah. So after that, we have the gang in the library, and Giles chooses, when he's training with Buffy, she's literally punching, he's doing boxing kind of stuff. He's holding up a foam, what am I thinking about? A mat, like a mat kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's when he chooses to tell her, no, she shouldn't go to the dance. Giles, don't give her bad news while she is punching at you. That's just a bad plan.
And then she kicks his ass. And then I hope he regrets it. Right before this, you get a shot of the school right before Buffy starts kicking his ass. And there's a big banner over the top of the school that says something about like the upcoming World Culture Dance. And Allie, you alluded to this in the summary.
Yes.
That, I promise, those types of events are always going to be a bad idea. Don't do it.
Yeah. Unless, so I had a note about this later, but I can say it now. It's, if you came as your own culture, that's different. Because I can see where that would be interesting of like, oh, we're all sharing and you get to meet other people with their different cultures and stuff. So like if I came in like some traditional Russian regalia, that would be different. But when you can just like pick a culture.
You're Russian?
I am like super Russian.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
I also like potatoes.
I will never get to visit the
that's Irish.
country of my people. It's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
I would like to one day, maybe one day.
Another tie-in actually to Princess Diaries. In book 1, they have a cultural diversity dance.
Oh no.
And it's like this, I guess the same premise, except I think they did it a little better where like the cultural clubs had like booths. So it was like the Spanish club had a booth. So I feel like maybe that's less awful. But
absolutely.
This was pretty cringe.
Again, presenting your own culture for other people to experience.
Yes, it's not like dress up as another ethnicity.
Right, exactly. Were you ever a Girl Scout?
No, I wasn't much of a joiner.
That's why you're friends with Nick.
Exactly.
Okay.
We isolate together.
Oh, come on. If I had a penny for every time you said I hate people. Come on.
Yeah, the more interactions I have with people, the more that I'm right.
That's fair. But so one thing that an event we used to have every year was called Thinking Day. And each troop would pick a country and you would like do some research and make, a big trifold board about the country, and you would make some kind of food item from the country, and you would also make what we called swaps, which were little pins or some kind of doodads that represent, either the flag or, their animal or something else, and then everyone presented a, skit or song or dance or something like that. I feel like we were pretty respectful about it.
There were no rules
again,
in
research
the 90s.
Went into it.
Yeah.
True.
But it was really fun, and I always learned a lot. And I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, you
Yeah.
were learning
hard to
about
say.
it,
Like
and
right,
not
exactly.
like just randomly dressing up as it for.
But
a
I'd
dance.
have to go back and, third person see, like, okay, how did we actually do this? Were we absolutely conscious about it? Who knows?
Well, let's not reevaluate anything. It's like too closely. Who needs self-reflection? So Buffy is bartering with Giles, trying to go to this dance. And she goes, Giles, come on, budge. No one likes a non-budger. And as I was writing this, I wrote down that the two of you are non-budgers. Allie, we've talked about how you do not, when somebody's like, do it, you won't. You're like, yeah, I won't.
You're right.
And then
100%.
Jordan, one of the first times we went out together, it was St. Patrick's Day.
That was the day we met.
That was the day we met. And I think that we were at that pizza place in Folly.
Woody's.
Crap, what's it called? Woody's. And I have a distinct memory of us being like, come on, one more, let's go out, one more place. And you were like, I don't respond to peer pressure.
No, I literally
Love
don't.
it.
I'm like Allie with that non-budger. Do what I want.
Excellent. Yeah, I love, what does she say? Buffy says something to Giles and like, oh, come on. And he's like, it's as if you know me. And I just love that little bit of sass.
I think I feel like I'm going to get hate for saying this, but I feel like if Buffy were older, I would express that I feel sexual tension between them.
Ooh, interesting. Between her and Giles?
Yeah.
100% there is slash fiction online.
Ooh,
I
I gotta
haven't
check
read
that out.
it, but I can guarantee it exists. And,
Giles is hot.
I will
He's
check
a
it out.
hottie.
I will check it out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
he's a
he's got
hottie.
that distinguished older man kind of thing. He
Yeah.
had wild days. I bet he's pretty darn great in the bedroom. I bet.
For sure. He's studied.
Yeah.
Okay, well, moving on. Speaking of sexual tension, there is dialogue here between Xander and Buffy, and I get the impression from Xander here that he knows that Willow likes him.
Oh, he definitely knows. 100%.
So,
Yeah, he is not surprised when Buffy brings it up.
And then Willow overhears the tail end of the conversation, and just that poor girl.
But I thought what Xander said was nice. Like, it was like a decent thing to overhear. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I don't like her, she's an uggo. Like, it was like, she's my best friend, and I don't want to ruin that.
Right, and he didn't say anything wrong.
Right.
It just sucks to hear.
Yeah.
Because I think up until now, Willow's definitely holding out hope that, maybe he'll just open his eyes. Maybe he just needs to get some time to get over Buffy, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he's just straight up like, that's not how I see her. And that's not wrong. It just sucks for Willow. And of course, that is nothing he would have. I like to think he would not have said something like that in front of Willow.
Well, in a recent episode, y'all were talking about how he was being like, well, Nick, mostly you, I guess, were talking about how he was being a piece of shit, like flaunting his disinterest in Willow. But I felt like here he was doing a really good job at making sure that she didn't get the wrong impression by like encouraging Buffy to come with them, making sure she didn't know it was or think it was like a date. So I felt like he was trying to do the right thing in his maybe like less than perfect Xander way.
I do agree. Non-shitty move.
Yeah. And that kind of thing is really important. Be like, yes, let's make sure this is clearly a group thing. Yeah.
Okay, so they realize Rodney is missing. Goddamn. They start joking about how, maybe it was the mummy. Maybe
mummy just came back to life.
And they're like, oh shit, that is not
It's
the craziest
Sunnydale.
thing that's happened here.
Finally.
Yeah.
I loved that. Such a great moment.
Right.
Like how y'all talked about that on the ventriloquist episode, how they're like, oh, did he come to life? And I was about to be annoyed that they were doing that again, but they quickly are like, oh wait, maybe you could, based on past experience.
Yeah. We're learning.
Yes.
We're learning.
So they go back to the museum, presumably after hours. Whatever, suspending my disbelief. They realize that the seal is broken, and then they're attacked by this dude who also attacked by a dude, and then the bodyguard looks in the tomb, sees something that everybody else doesn't see quite yet, runs away. And then Willow puts together that like, he has braces. That's very strange. And just shout out to Willow for her braininess here.
This is something I think is like kind of corny or almost like a little bit sloppy, is like at least one student dies every episode and it's treated very casually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also too with the guy like popping up with his hatchet and then like disappearing, and they're like, quick before he comes back. It like feels very like silly and theatrical.
Where did he come from?
Right.
Yeah, where did he go?
go? Like,
Yeah.
that's one of those moments that like to me reads as like kind of goofy.
Yeah. There's definitely, it's definitely a little, Scooby-Doo like.
Yes, it's exactly Scooby-Doo like. It's an homage.
Yeah. So I have a fun little factoid because it was bugging me. So I looked it up because Rodney looked familiar. And I was like, I feel like I've seen him before, maybe a little bit older. Rodney, a.k.a. Clayne Crawford, was the hot bad boy in A Walk to Remember.
I thought you were
What?
going to say the other thing he's in, which
What?
is Twilight.
Yes.
I
he was
died
also in
when I
Twilight.
realized that because I was like, I know this guy from something.
Well, wait, are you talking about
Wait, I'm sorry.
the bodyguard? The
Yeah.
bodyguard was in Twilight.
Yes.
That's like when he's known for his Twilight. And that that is Gil Birmingham.
Oh, sorry.
Who was playing an Incan in this, but is known for playing Native American characters.
Right. Who were you talking
he
about?
was
I'm
Billy
sorry.
Black in Twilight.
I thought that was who you were talking about.
No. Weirdo Rodney.
Oh, Weirdo Rodney. My bad.
Yeah, he was the kind of mean bad boy in A Walk to Remember.
Yeah, get yourself a dude that can do it all. A
It
Walk
was
to
definitely
Remember
weird seeing him being a weirdo.
is one of the few movies that I have seen that's not Buffy, and I never would have put together that
Me either.
Weirdo Rodney was the same guy.
I've
And then
seen that
interest-
movie a lot.
I didn't recognize him at all.
And then Nice Guard Man, was in Twilight.
Was
I
in
have
Twilight.
also seen
Mhm.
Twilight, but I'll have to watch
He's the
it.
guy in the wheelchair. Isn't he in a wheelchair?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair in Twilight. He's like Jacob's
Yeah.
dad or something.
Yep. Yeah, he's Jacob's dad, and he's Bella's dad's best friend.
Besties.
Yeah. I don't think that is necessary for you to go back and watch the Twilight series. Unless you like wanted to do like a drinking game about
Yeah,
it or
no,
something.
you should go back
but,
and watch it for sure. And then watch it again to make sure you didn't miss anything.
Great. Thanks for those conflicting messages, friends. So they are, I'm just going to keep moving us along. They're
Go
back
for
at the
it.
library.
Mhm.
They're wondering why Dude Man ran away. Giles somehow knows where the mummy is from. And I have to theorize here, this is a connection to San Francisco from our trip, Jordan. Maybe there was a plaque
I
that
was gonna
depicted
say
where she was
that he
from.
read it on the plaque.
And Jordan knows I'm insufferable in zoos and botanical gardens for reading plaques all the way through. Maybe there was a plaque. That's what I have to assume.
Well, the tour guide who said the big spiel specifically said she was Incan.
So Giles was listening, unlike us.
Yeah.
'Cause I didn't
Yeah.
remember
Or
that
it was,
either.
and it was very clearly like an Incan exhibit that they went into.
Okay,
You fool.
well,
Yeah. That's on
Yeah.
you, Knickers.
me fool. So then Buffy realizes she forgot about Ampata, who's the
Exchange
guy
student.
that she's supposed to be hosting. And Xander has a funny quote, I think. He says, "Where are your priorities? Tracking down a mummifying killer or making time for some Latin lover whose stock and trade is the breakage of hearts?" And then Giles, what I think is really funny here is Giles, as he's saying that, the camera pans to Giles, who's just giving him this look that's like, what? What are you saying?
Giles definitely thinks Xander's an idiot.
And he would be correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor Giles having to spend so much time with teenagers.
Yeah.
He must just internally grown so much. And he does give them a lot of shit. So there is that.
Buffy says, speaking about Ampata, who she knows is South American, but doesn't know anything beyond that, says,
Correct.
maybe he could translate the seal.
Which is all
What?
like symbols.
Why would you assume? Yeah, are you fluent? What?
Yeah. That is a little, it's one of those sort of racist things of like, oh yeah. Your last name is Rodriguez. You must know all other
Oh, you're
Rodriguezes.
gay. You
Like-
must know this other gay person I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, you're from South America. You must know about the Incans.
Yeah.
Because South America isn't big at all.
I wrote down
Buffy.
that Ampata looks like, this is another very Scooby-Doo thing. He literally, to me, looks like the cartoon character of an archaeologist. Like, if you were to draw a sketch of, like, an archaeologist, it would be this
It
guy.
truly does.
That's true. He looks pretty nerdy.
Yeah.
For sure. But then we meet the mummy version of Ampata, and I just said she is objectively beautiful.
The human, not the
The
mummy version. The
Of course.
human version.
The mummy
just
version
to be
clear.
is terrifying
Mhm.
when she goes to suck out his soul by like kissing him. That was like my
Yep.
third gasp of the episode.
I would poop my pants.
It was really
but
gross.
then she is stunning. You're right,
She's
Allie. She is
stunning.
stunning.
Yeah.
So I think at this point, Ampata has sucked out the life of the actual Ampata, and Buffy's found them. Xander says, yikes things.
Yeah, Xander says some really like culturally insensitive, yucky things. Like, ugh.
Especially after she is already responding and in clear English and definitely understands what Buffy is saying. And he's still like awkwardly talking loud and
Please still talk to her like she's stupid.
Yeah.
She's
Right.
not stupid. She
Yeah.
understands.
Yep.
Yeah.
For some reason in this episode, Willow wears like every ugly hat she could find. And I don't know why. Like starting here in this scene when they go like to Buffy's house and they offer him pot of milk or whatever, she's wearing this fucking ugly hat and she wears like two more. I don't know why. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
really latched onto it. She wasn't doing herself any favors.
well, I think that's maybe it's supposed to throw her in contrast.
Yeah, what
With
a
him- with
juxtaposition.
Good
Ampata.
point. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and then later she gets specifically noticed for her dorkiness, which is I can't wait to talk about that part. But I love when they're in the kitchen and Buffy's, offering her something to drink or whatever. And I think it's Xander says like, "So you're a girl." And Ampata goes, "Yes, for many years now." And I was like, she's got a sense of humor. Look at her.
Fresh
But then it does
eyes.
explain that she explains herself like I've been listening and I've been, she talks around like I've been traveling to Atlanta and San Francisco and New York, and you're like, she was a traveling exhibit.
Right.
So she just listened to people talk all day. I was like,
And all the viewers know exactly what she's talking about, and the characters do not. I love irony.
So
yeah,
cute.
dramatic irony is so much fun.
Question. So she stays in Buffy's room. Was boy Ampata gonna also stay in Buffy's room?
Good question.
Good
I don't
question.
know. Just something I
Very
wondered.
good question. I hadn't thought about
Just
that.
because, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like even probably now, like teenagers don't really do that. You don't typically like share a room of the opposite.
Especially
gender.
not with a stranger.
Right, yeah. But
Yeah.
they're just like, she's just like on the cot in Buffy's room.
I want to say that
Ooh.
they put the cot in there when they realized it was a girl.
I concur.
I'm gonna say that.
I will also concur. Group-wide consensus. So if Xander is asking extremely offensive questions, or noting your English is very bueno, don't ever say that to somebody, by the way. Buffy, they're having a really nice conversation here. Buffy's like, what's it like at home? And they're talking. And I know we'll get into it later, but this episode is so interesting because I feel real compassion here for Ampata.
Oh yeah.
She's saying, I just want to fit in, just like you. I want a normal life.
Mhm.
And you really start to feel for her here.
Absolutely.
My heart totally went out to her a lot by the end of the episode, even though she's like technically the villain.
Yeah, it's kind of a Thanos situation where it's like, yeah, you've got a point, you're right, but you also still can't kill people.
Yeah, exactly.
Bit of a
I
Marcy
totally get
situation,
where
too.
I totally get where she's coming from,
She
and
was
it's absolutely unfair.
Dealt
to
a
her.
really shitty hand.
Yeah, but I love when so Ampata says to Buffy, just like you, a normal life. And I just wrote, LOL, she's about as normal as you, hun.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, what does Buffy say? I wrote it down. No, I didn't write it down. Just kidding. Anyways, Buffy turns off the light. Dude Man is outside watching the guard from before. And at school the next day, it's the next scene, we have another instance where, to me, Cordelia fully looks like a teacher.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
From episode one, I was like, this woman is 30. Like, what is she doing in this high school? She looks so old.
Yeah.
I mean, in a
Well,
good
the way
way.
that she
She's
dresses
gorgeous.
is just like that really classy when she does the like sweater set and khakis. And I like, was that just like the style? I don't know. She definitely looks very mature when she dresses like that. But then she comes to the cultural dance in a Hawaiian bikini or whatever, and then she looks a lot younger. But
Is the guy she's dating, the guy in the band, are they also students or are they adults? It wasn't clear to me.
Oz is a student, the guitarist.
He also looks very old.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Is Seth Green a student?
Oh,
yes.
get ready
Yeah,
for
that's
more of
so that's
Oz.
Oz. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He is he is definitely a student because we see him on career day.
Oh, okay.
Next season. But I think the lead singer is a student, but probably just not a great student.
I was just wondering if
Just,
he
like,
was
not
like
around
a
a lot.
full-fledged adult dating Cordelia, because that would seem like something that might happen.
Yes, absolutely. Either situation could totally
Yeah.
happen. At the very least, I would say he is an upperclassman.
Yeah. I love Seth Green. I was so excited to
Love
see
him so
him.
much.
I love everything I've ever seen him in. He's amazing. I hope he doesn't disappoint me on Buffy.
He's on my list of celebrities I want to just be my best friend.
Absolutely.
I'm a huge Robot Chicken fan. I love him as Oz. You are not going to be disappointed.
Excellent.
And he's just so cute throughout
He's
this episode. So I literally wrote "Enter Oz!" ! And then I did a little emoji face with like heart eyes.
Aw. Cute.
Oh, he is a cutie. Okay. I have things to say about the dialogue between Devin and Oz, but I'm just gonna skip it for now. We cut over to Willow and Xander. They're talking about their costumes for the dance coming up. I'm gonna again just gloss over the yikes that is that whole premise, but Willow has on rainbow suspenders, and I need to call it out. And
Oh my god, I
appreciate it.
missed
She
that.
does, and a very
That is so
ugly
cute.
second hat.
Yeah, another really bad hat. Yeah,
She's such a cute girl too. Like, I feel like I hope she gets some zhuzh here soon, because like it's lacking right now.
Yeah,
I love her.
I have so much
Nick,
to say in response.
I was gonna say, Nick, what are we waiting for? 2 more episodes?
Oh my
It's two-
gosh!
in two
Well,
more
I have not
episodes.
seen past this
Two
episode.
more.
So
What is the title? What is the episode title?
Halloween.
Oh,
Ooh, is she gonna dress slutty?
I don't know.
I can't wait.
Well, let's see.
I'm
I'll have to
excited.
watch, yeah, yeah. Especially if you like Oz too. That's more. Whatever. I've said too
Yeah.
much. I've
So
said too much.
so Willow's face when so they're saying, oh, someone should stay with Ampata for the whole day, and that's Xander's like, oh yeah, I volunteer as tribute. And I just wrote, oh, Will, your time is coming.
It is. Okay, so Buffy and Pata there. Xander is smitten. They go into the library. Giles is super excited to meet Ampata. He asks her if she can translate the seal, which again, I feel like we've already talked about how that's a big yikes.
But also she can.
She can't. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Just because you were right doesn't mean that it's
Fair.
not any
Fair.
less cringy.
True.
So Buffy and Willow and Giles are like, oh, we're part of the archaeology club. That's why we're
Good
researching
save, good
this.
save.
Yes.
I loved
yeah,
that. I
So
thought it was so funny.
It's a club for
Xander now
everything.
has an excuse to hang out with Ampata one-on-one, which I'm sure he's just thrilled about.
Is this
I
where
love
they
when
eat
he
the
says-
Twinkies? Sorry.
Oh no! Well, as they're walking to go eat Twinkies, I love when Xander asks Ampata, "You're not a praying mantis, are you?"
Yes, that made me so sad. Like, this poor asshole can't catch a break.
That theme, unfortunately for him, does not end
Oh,
anytime
no.
soon.
Wait, can I say something? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Continually.
I ship Xander and Cordelia really hard, and I feel like every time I say that, Nick like eye rolls me. But they're just the perfect trope, like the cool girl who doesn't want anyone to know she's dating this nerd.
Yeah. Well, and
Fans.
I am such a sucker for that. The bad boy who has a softer side, or like the guy who's like too cool for school.
Yeah.
And I grew up loving Grease, so like that
Yes.
just says everything about you need to know about me. But I very much love that ship as well,
Thank you for your validation.
because it also she keeps going for guys like Devin, who while he is hot, clearly nothing between the ears.
45-ish, yeah.
Well,
45.
well, yeah, that too. But Cordelia has proven time and time again that she is very smart. And
Yeah,
so
that's
you
what
just,
I was
like,
gonna say.
Us,
Yeah.
the audience, just keeps going, "Oh, come on, hon! Like,
Yeah.
oh, you can do better."
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail. I just wanted to put that out there in case anyone wants to send me their fan fiction.
I appreciate that call for fan fiction, Jordan, and pass it along my way when you receive
Oh,
it.
I will.
Um,
Mhm.
So this is the question for Allie and Jordan, my first one of the episode. So they're on the bleachers, and Xander introduces Ampata to don't Don't make it weird, Allie. Whatever. He brings out a Twinkie
Mhm.
and he says, like, this is class right here. Personally, I am not the biggest fan of Twinkies. My
Okay.
question to y'all is, if you were introducing somebody to a quintessential American snack food, those sorts of packaged snacks like a Twinkie is, what would it be? What's your favorite?
It has to be a snack food.
Has to be along the same lines as a Twinkie.
Maybe like Pringles or something. I'm trying to think.
Ooh,
Twinkie,
you
I feel
went
like is a
salty.
more obvious answer. I do find them delicious too.
Allie, I think I know what your answer is, and I almost want to like text it now so I can verify. Whatever, I have it in my head.
Okay.
I think
You
that
want
I
to
know what your
say it
favorite is.
on 3? So we're talking about like packaged snacky foods.
Yep.
Sweet things.
Yep.
Okay, we'll say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Oatmeal cream pies.
Yeah.
Those are very good. I like those.
They are good. You probably remember because that was my thing in middle school at snack time. They had oatmeal cream pies for like 50 cents.
So you're at
You would eat it around the edge and save the center.
Oh, that's a
what you would
good
do.
call. That's the best part. So you're thinking in like the Little Debbie sphere. I was thinking bigger.
No, you're right. In my
Yeah.
head, I was assuming Little Debbie, but
Yeah.
Pringles, that's a good
I
choice.
don't
That's
know.
Pringles is a good
solid
one.
I
snack
was
food
gonna
right
say
there.
like McDonald's cheeseburger, but then you specified snack, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
if we were going for like quintessential American, I think like not constricting ourselves to like Little Debbie type products. McDonald's is a good one. Basically, any kind of fast food is a good one.
Mhm.
My head actually went to pizza rolls.
Oh, Totino.
Ooh.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Sponsor us.
I was gonna say sponsor us,
Um,
drown me in your rolls.
But like,
I love
why
those.
does
Drown me in your
why
rolls.
does Xander think it's a good idea to shove the whole Twinkie in his mouth? Is that supposed to
And
be
he even
hot?
says that as like this is the way that it's eaten. Like
You can choke.
I don't know.
And then she does
So
it
much
too,
about
and they're
that.
like
Yeah.
they're like loving it, and I'm like, is this some kind of
It's
weird kink?
very cute. It's very cute that she's like totally picking up on everything he's dropping down. But like this, I guess, also goes to the cluelessness of Xander.
Yeah.
That, like you're always talking about how like woe is me, girls don't like me, and then you shove a whole Twinkie in your mouth the first time you're hanging out with this gorgeous
Yeah.
girl. Come on.
She very
no
much
one's
like
that stupid.
reciprocates his vibe though. Like
Yes.
they're on the
Oh,
same
she passed the
level.
vibe check. 100%. She is totally right for him if only she were a normal human girl.
But is that because she's 500 years starved for attention? Is she like, I would...
No,
is
because
she,
every time
like-
he does something goofy, she really likes it and finds him funny.
I guess,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
is
think
pretty
she's.
goofy
I think
herself.
she's
I like that
genuinely.
about her.
I think we should give Xander this one. I think she is genuinely charmed by him.
Fine.
She does, and I
if
mean,
must.
think how many men have passed her by in the museum. She's obviously been listening.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know?
I did not verify. My dog is groaning in the background. I apologize. I read a fun fact while doing research for this episode that the actors had to eat many, many, many Twinkies during the course of shooting this episode, and that idea is funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably wouldn't feel good by the end. Probably be put off
Troopers.
Twinkies for a while.
That is the thought that I had of like, also, why would you make that choice to do it for practical reasons? Because yeah, what if you have to do another take? And what if they're like, okay, you're mush-mouthed too much. Now we have to do it again.
Right.
Gross. That's a lot. Because I enjoy a Twinkie. It's not my go-to. It's not what I've always like had around me. But like, 5 takes, even 4 takes in, that's a lot.
It's 4 Twinkies. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of Twinkies. I don't
That's
know.
why often, and I think this is so gross, but often when filming food scenes, actors have a spit bucket so that they're not actually eating
Yeah, it's pretty
what
gross.
they're like supposed to be chewing.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
Real-
everything about that.
Real gross. Yeah, I guess it's better than having
To actually
a
eat
really
5
full
Twinkies,
stomach and
yeah.
having to eat however many of whatever you're eating. But ugh, that sounds so gross.
Yikes. Okay, so Dude Man interrupts them. Oh, no. Sorry. Not yet.
I think he does interrupt them, doesn't he? Doesn't he jump up? And I was like, how did he get there?
We have a brief cutout.
Magic.
Magic.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, he just
Oh, yeah, and
pops up like wherever.
Giles figures out that the mummy sucks lives out of people or whatever, and then
Uh-huh.
and then he pops up, right?
they have this moment in the library. Buffy and Willow are like, Buffy asks Willow a question and she's like clearly distracted, and Buffy goes, she's only here for 2 weeks. Like she's, and then she has this line, she says, and then Xander can find someone else to obsess about. At least with you, I knew he didn't have a shot.
Aww.
Which is like heartbreaking. And then she has this quote that I do like. She says, I have a choice. I can spend my life waiting for Xander to go out with every other girl in the world until he notices me, or I can just get on with my life. And she says, I didn't choose yet.
I think about that when Buffy's like, yeah, at a girl. And she's like, well, I didn't choose yet.
That was funny.
But I thought that was an interesting point, that the whole beginning of the episode, Xander's like, yeah, who is this guy? Who's this guy that's going to be staying with you? Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, are we all forgetting about Angel? What possible exchange student could come into her life that she's just going to forget about the guy that she's been totally mooning over?
This episode gets points off for no Angel or Spike.
I have
Fair.
in the trivia at the end of this, Jordan, I'm sorry that you were Jordan has texted me about how she's a Jordan fan, and I gave her the guest episode. The first episode, I looked back, the first episode in 5 episodes without any Angel. So thank you.
That's okay. I just like, Allie, you mentioned this on a previous episode, being all about the romance plot. I'm such a sucker for that. If there's not like a love story, I'm not that interested.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, Xander and Ampata, sure, but like, I don't really care. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I'm definitely with you there. Everybody's like, whenever books are about like self-discovery and stuff, I'm like, how about you discover some dick?
Yeah, same. Boo, don't care. Where's the sex?
How about some lip action?
Yeah, agreed.
You get a little bit of lip action in this one, but
it's
a little bit.
gross.
And it's
Yeah, it's
really close up, which must have been so
Yes.
awkward to shoot. That's so, can't even
Barf.
imagine that. I hope
Kind
they
of
were using a
awkward
zoom
kissing,
lens
too. Not the
instead
best.
of actual
Yeah.
proximity.
So Dude Man attacks them. He sees Ampata. He gets spooked and he gets distracted and punched, which is like not super good good choice. Anyways, they're back in the library. Ampata's like, destroy the seal. Just do it. It's going to bring danger. And then outside, Ampata again says, I just want a normal life. It's talking about how she like doesn't want to be pursued by this continued danger. And then there's another really nice moment from Willow here. She goes up to Xander and she says, you should take her to the dance. Just you.
Aww.
It's like, oh, Willow, you're such a sweetheart.
I really
Cheers.
love that they tell her, they're like, we're not an archaeology club, we're in crime club, to try to cover up why the guy is like attacking them or whatever. I thought that was so funny. It made me laugh.
Yeah, well, and it is weird for them to be like very invested in this death and trying to solve this thing. So, I mean, I don't know how convincing of a cover up it was, but it was.
I just thought it was so funny. They're like, actually, it's not an archaeology club. It's a club for crime. And she's like, oh, for sure. That sounds real.
Sure.
So this is another question I have about this mysterious bodyguard prisoner person who, Ampata's prisoner, imprisoning agent, whatever. Xander and Ampata are talking, and she goes into the bathroom, and he's just there.
He like
I think
rises
he's
up and
magic.
appears.
He's magic.
Oh,
He's part of
it's
the
not-
curse. He's not
No,
like
but
he hasn't been
as a-
sitting there physical form
waiting in
for
the
hundreds
girls'
of
bathroom.
years.
I thought it might have
He
been
was
like
awakened when the curse was awakened.
I thought it might have been like a passed down burden job.
I don't think so. No,
So
because
like constantly
he's not in
watch
modern
over,
clothes.
just be
He's not
waiting.
in modern clothes.
I agree with Allie. I think he's part of the curse. But it was still
Yeah.
goofy when he's just like standing there in the background of the bathroom, like in the mirror, lurking. Creep.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's part of the curse.
Yeah,
I
man.
like that.
And because
he's goofy, but he's
fucking
part of the
weirdo
curse.
Rodney
Okay.
broke the thing that, and she
Right.
got out, that like awakened him or whatever.
Yeah. I think it was a package deal.
Mm-hmm. Concurred.
Okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
You all have gotten me there.
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
done.
Think the Thanksgiving episode.
Ooh, I love
God.
holiday
Oh
episodes.
God.
You're gonna love that episode. Anyway,
God.
something to look forward to. So
Yikes.
we're at Buffy's house. Well, actually, first she's in the mirror before she gets attacked by a bodyguard dude, and she reapplies like a lip color, and I just have what did I say? Oh, ugh, the '90s nude lip look. not about it.
I also noted Buffy's extremely thin eyebrows, which were a very 90s look too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's going to be a social media post. Thin eyebrows, nude lip.
Yeah. But
Social
then
media post,
later,
look out.
she, after she sucks the life force from the dude, she comes out and she has a really dark lip. And I was like, is that her like refreshed, you know, like her skin's glowing, her lips are darker. I don't know.
remnants of
Because
his
it's like
soul.
she just deliberately applied a light color. She comes out, it's like dark plum, which is a way better color.
There's lipstick incontinuity because she also tells Buffy that she doesn't have a lipstick and
Right.
asks her for one when she just put on lipstick, but that's okay.
Right. Maybe she'd stolen that one and now she's like asking for one. I don't know. But also, where did she get any of her clothes?
Yeah, good point.
True.
I mean, maybe
Good
I
point.
guess she was, she kind of dresses in like jeans and a t-shirt. So like maybe that was the real Ampatas. Maybe.
Or
But then she
Buffy's.
also has this gorgeous dress.
Buffy's.
Yeah. Or Buffy's.
Yeah,
But
the
then
dress.
and I'm like, where did she get
It
this
is gorgeous.
outfit? She's like, I had to
Yeah.
borrow lipstick, but it's okay because I found this outfit.
Yeah. I need
Weird.
lipstick, but I have clothes.
But what would I give for a week with those fluffy loose curls?
Her body is banging. Like, she
That
is
too.
so
That
hot.
too. Yeah. Yeah. And just like her like half up do and it's all flowy and yeah. She looks great.
Stunning lady. We love it. We love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
So she kills the guard. She accepts Xander's invite to the dance. Back at the house in the next scene, Buffy is like, "Oh, the bus station called. They dropped off your stuff. I'll unpack it." And Ampata gets weird about her unpacking it, and she gets weird because
Oh, that's right. So she must have been borrowing stuff from Buffy because her bags weren't even there yet.
Right, and her
Anyway.
bags are full of men's clothes and
Right.
dead bodies.
which Buffy sees. But I would be weird about. She's weird because there's a dead body in her stuff.
Right.
I would be weird. Don't touch my
Don't
stuff.
unpack my stuff. Why would
Don't
you do
unpack
that?
my stuff.
I always think that on Below Deck when they have the people unpack for them. I know they're just rich
I
assholes.
thought about that. I thought about Below Deck.
But
yeah.
like, who wants other
Yeah.
people to unpack for you? I don't.
That is a thing, but I would never offer that for a house guest.
Yeah,
I would never offer that.
I agree. It's weird. It's like, Nick, if you came to visit me and I was like, I'll unpack for you. Like, who the fuck does that? But it's nice. She's just trying to be
I have
hospitable.
a way that I lay my stuff out. Yeah, true. Good host points to Buffy.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, but she doesn't see the mummy in the suitcase, right? It's like a quick.
Not yet.
Yeah,
at that
not
point.
yet.
She sees it later when she comes back with Giles. But so she goes downstairs and Xander comes in and he's in the like poncho and stuff and he
Dressed
says, where
as-
are you from? The country of white trash.
I thought that was so rude. I thought she looked really cute. I remember thinking.
That was savage.
I was like, she looks
That was
cute.
savage.
And then he said that, and I was like, oh. Jerk.
My jaw dropped. Yeah, Xander, ouch. You can't.
Oh, I thought it was
Oh, I did think it was funny.
It
I did
was
think
funny.
It was
It was
funny.
God,
harsh.
if you said that
Oh.
to me when I actually think you were insulting my outfit, come on.
Yeah, true. What
We're
did I call you
friends.
today? I texted you
Did you
today.
call me?
Hang
Y'all must
Um,
on.
be meaner to each other. We
Oh
never
my God,
I
we're
would take
so
it so
mean.
personally.
If Nick says something nice to me,
I-
it kind of feels like something's wrong. Or I'm like,
I
oh,
called
do you
Allie
am I
a
on
dumb
my...
bitch and
Yeah.
texted you.
That's nice.
Allie, I love you. It's only
I
because
love
I love you.
Here's the thing I
Are
think is
lovely.
weird. Why doesn't Buffy's mom think it's weird that the fucking librarian keeps like showing up to hang out with Buffy? Like, they haven't really explained that away. And like in the
They
last
really
episode,
haven't.
I'm sure y'all talked about this, where like Buffy fought off the gang and her mom was like, you're a cool chick. Like, it's just kind of, it's like they have to get to a point soon where like Buffy's mom finds out, because at this point it's like too much, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff that just glosses over.
Yeah. I'm hoping she finds out soon, because
Yeah.
at this point I find her irresponsible.
Oh, interesting.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
our Allie and I have discussed how our views on Joyce Summers have evolved over the years. That's an interesting point. and
Nick
I'm not
tends to be
revealing
very
anything.
critical of Joyce, and I have always thought she is number one mom. So
I feel like she's trying, but like at this point she's hanging out with the librarian too much. You need to know why.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And in the evening.
Yeah, at night by themselves.
Yeah.
No,
It's not
that's
great,
like,
is it?
it's
fair.
Not great. Yeah.
And the episode 3 stuff was just, why is your daughter all of a sudden leading this like anti-gang revolution? Like, isn't this weird to you, Joyce? Like,
Right. It would definitely be surprising. I mean, I do think I would give them points for like stepping up, but I
Yeah.
would be like, what the?
But at a
this
certain
is your
point,
fr-
we need to talk about like how she had the confidence to do that. Some
Yeah,
of the
I'd be
things we saw
surprised,
her
for
do.
sure.
A little weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
yeah.
Joyce to dig a little deeper.
But I do think Joyce also knows that she at least used to get in fights. So maybe
True.
she assumes that Buffy has some fight experience, but I don't know.
I'm going to be so interested to hear what you think about our episode, our commentary on episode 3, Jordan. You haven't.
I look forward to
listened
hearing it.
to
That was my
this.
favorite episode so far.
Oh.
I really enjoyed episode
Because it's a
3.
great episode.
It
was
really
very
good.
good.
One. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So then I also have
Get
Buffy.
the hell away from my
Buffy says to Xander, "You look good." Psh, girl, he always looks good. Shut up.
He does look good despite his cultural insensitivity. He looks nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is
Yeah.
looking really good. Yeah, yeah. They have a funny exchange too, where he's like speechless when Ampata
yeah.
comes down, and he speaks like gibberish,
Uh-huh.
and then Buffy's like, "That's man speak for
You're beautiful.
you're gorgeous" or something,
Yeah.
and then he says something else in gibberish, and she goes, "You're welcome."
I love that. Yeah,
That
that
was
was a very cute friend moment.
Okay, so we're at the dance.
Dingoes!
Oz-
Our first time meeting Dingoes Ate My Baby.
Is that a recurring thing? I thought that band name was hilarious. I mean, it's
Yes,
not. It's
it is.
insensitive, but it was funny. Like that was it.
I think it's funny.
I think it's supposed to reference. Never mind. I looked up trivia about it. I think it's supposed to reference the Hobbit,
It definitely
we will-
is. It's supposed to reference that lady whose baby was killed by dingoes, and she went to prison for the murder of it, the baby.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
I
really
did not know that. I did not know that.
Y'all are
was that
like
like
a little
90s
maybe
thing?
young for that. Like I
Yeah.
sort of remember it being news. Yeah. Long story
Okay.
short, her baby was murdered by dingoes, and the police said she
Oh.
killed her, and she went to prison for like years for it, and was eventually
because no one
exonerated.
believed that she was really because no one believed her that her baby was eaten by dingoes.
It was like a satanic panic kind of thing. Like the society was convinced that she had done some kind of weird ritual.
What?
There's a really interesting podcast called You're Wrong About, and they did an episode on this. And they did, what, I don't think she was even exonerated until her baby's coat was found in like a dingo cave years later.
Aw.
Sorry.
no.
So
That's
maybe like
awful.
the band name isn't great. It was like a joke in the 90s. Like there's an episode of Seinfeld about it, and it's really insensitive.
Well, it's a contemporary
Mass
reference that,
incarceration
like,
in America. God damn
So-
it.
but it's also it's darkly funny. It is. I mean, it's still funny.
It's a
as
cult,
long
it's
as
like
it's
a
not
pop
your
culture
baby.
reference. It's
Right.
cute. We love Seth
Like
Green.
that is wild. If dingoes ate your baby, like that's wild. I think it's still a funny name, but I'm
Well, the
Still
note
funny.
I have here.
I'm also a fan of
Um,
like South Park and Archer and stuff, so I don't have the cleanest of
We love a
sense of
dark
humor.
joke.
Yeah. Devin is sexy.
Yes,
That's-
yes.
that's-
I
my
kept
notes.
getting the
I don't have
song
anything
stuck in
beyond
my
that.
head. I watched this episode 3 times, and every time afterwards, I would get the
Oh,
"Damn
true.
Miss Sealand." It was like so annoying.
Do we know what band it actually is covering it?
I do not.
Are they real bands?
I surmise that it
A
is
lot of times it is.
I
yeah.
believe that it is a real band, and that Seth Green is just like an extraneous member of the band.
Yeah, he's not
but-
strumming the right things. Yeah, it's
I
for
mean,
sure.
it looks like he's playing. I believe that he's playing.
I believe it.
Pretty clearly at one point. Okay, who knows?
As
The
someone
other
who
question
doesn't
I
play
have-
guitar, it looked like he was playing guitar.
Well, as a guitar expert, just kidding. I don't know the first thing about guitars at all. Oz has painted nails. Are painted nails for dudes coming back, and can I paint my nails?
A, yes. B, it was a counterculture type thing at the time.
It was like
So it's not like
grunge.
everyone was. Yeah, it was him being grunge and being like the cool musician dude. But yeah, you could totally paint your nails. That's definitely a thing now.
Seconded.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look
That's
out, folks.
the non-binary gender roles refuting kind of thing.
Interesting. Well,
Go for
look
it.
out, folks.
Get a manicure.
Pretty
It's
soon.
delightful.
Post a pic.
So I have this awful quote from Cordelia. So she says she's talking about the exchange student Sven, who is not the like Swedish hottie that she was hoping for. And she says, he's like one of those dogs you leave at the Grand Canyon and it follows you back across 4 states. That's oddly specific, Cordelia.
I loved
That's
this.
so
Like,
specific.
I loved this little B plot of like at the beginning she's talking about I can't wait for my like Swedish hottie to show up, and then like she thinks he's a total dud, and then when you actually see them at the dance, he like thinks she's the dud.
Yep.
And so I thought that was really funny.
I thought that was great. Yeah, he found his own audience.
Yeah, like he found his crew.
Yeah, and he like she's hating on him this entire time for not speaking English, and sorry. In the scene with Devin, she says not speaking American, and then it turns out he
speaks just fine,
completely fluent English. Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah,
I do love that B plot.
Yeah,
Cordelia, adding a Y to words doesn't make them easier to understand.
Yeah, she's like, "Go get me drinky." Like she's like so
punchy.
Yeah.
No.
So rude.
Oh, that is an oddly specific thing. You're so right. Yeah. Why do you know that dogs travel 4 states? I don't want to know.
I think
Cordelia, I want to like
I think it's pretty clear how she knows, Nick.
That's how they got their dog.
Listen, can we move on, please?
Let's talk about how adorable Willow is. Although, what were you thinking?
Adorably culturally appropriated.
But like, well, yeah, that. But also, when Ampata comes in and looks drop dead gorgeous, she says to herself like, "Oh, maybe I should have dressed sexier." Hun, you think?
Sexier,
right? Like
the limit does not exist.
What was she thinking? Was the tone her outfit was giving off when she chose that one? Come on, hun. Like, just as we can't believe how clueless Xander is. Come on, Willow. Come on.
Yeah. It's a little rough sorry if I'm jumping ahead, please stop me. I was just gonna say when Seth Green's like, "Who's that?" And the guy thinks she's talking about him. He's talking about Ampata, and he's like, "No, the Eskimo," which sidebar I'm pretty sure is a slur. But he's talking about Willow. I literally out loud was like, "Oh my god!" Like I loved that moment.
That is like every romance obsessed girl's fantasy.
Yes,
of the hot guy who across a crowded room goes, "Her."
Yes, it was.
And you're like, yes.
I love it.
And I also just had a note, Seth Green appreciation post.
Absolutely.
And I will. There's never too many times that we can say how much we love him because he's great.
So cute.
Look out for a Seth Green appreciation post near you. Friends on social media one day soon.
And fun fact about Devin, aka Jason Hall, he was a writer and executive producer on the movie American Sniper.
Interesting.
Wow.
Random.
Kind of random, but I guess maybe he has a connection to the armed forces because he also, the most recent thing that he was like in and was involved in, I think he maybe also directed it, is another military soldier movie thing.
Boy movies, pass.
Yeah. I did see American Sniper, but it was only because it was on a date with my now ex.
Yeah,
so.
I think same.
Yeah, I mean,
watched
there's
it.
only so much Bradley Cooper can save a movie.
Wait, yeah, I think oh my god.
Did you see it
Did I
on a
watch
date?
that with the next two? That's funny.
Yeah, it was a group date thing, and I don't know. It was not my pick, for sure.
Yeah.
But I was like, I guess if it's what the group wants.
Yeah, we can only do so many hours of just explosions.
Yeah,
and
I don't like boy movies.
testosterone. Yeah, boy movies.
It wasn't even fun action. It was all like emotional. Anyway.
Yeah, it was depressing. I feel like I remember.
It was super depressing.
Yeah.
It was all about like soldiers with PTSD and shit. Like, woof. That was not date material. But speaking of more fun trivia, in the next, and again, stop me if I'm jumping ahead. So Ampata, they're slow dancing. They're having a moment. They're about to kiss, and she sees her hand is going back to Mummy, and she's like, "Ooh," but she's trying not to kill Xander, so she finds some other hapless person. And this is our first introduction to Jonathan.
Wait, does he come back?
Yes.
Yes,
Jonathan.
he does.
He's like a huge character on Gilmore Girls.
Yes. So Danny.
That's funny.
So Danny Strong, he's a huge character on Gilmore Girls, but more importantly, Danny Strong is now a big-time writer and producer. He is a 2-time Emmy winner, and he worked on such successful things as Dope Sick, you might have heard of it, Boardwalk Empire, and Billions, and
he's legit.
Lee Daniels, The Butler.
Whoa.
He I know, so Lee Daniels got the big writing credit, but Danny Strong was also a writer on that, and he's been nominated for lots of things. He's won other awards that weren't Emmys, Academy Awards, blah, blah, blah. And Dopesick was just recognized at some award show the other day. I just saw it on Danny Strong's Instagram today. It was just won a whole bunch of awards at Critics' Choice Awards, I think. So yeah, he is big time. When you look up people where are they now? He is killing it. He's just not.
I think
on
what
screen.
I hear you saying is that he's gone on to things that we never would have believed were possible at first, and that idea around this character that. Man,
I see what you're putting out. Yes,
couldn't imagine.
Yeah, he really went on
Jordan
a journey.
Is looking
I'm
clueless,
excited
I'm
he's not.
Looking clueless.
I'm excited he's not just a small character in this episode because I love him. He will always to me be Doyle from Gilmore Girls, but
right.
I'm thrilled.
That's how my sister sees him. My sister Asha is a big Gilmore Girls fan, and I'm trying to remember which she saw first, whether it was Buffy or Gilmore Girls. It's probably neck and neck.
Yeah.
But so she definitely got a lot of Doyle.
I'm thrilled to see more of him. I'm glad she doesn't kill him.
If you know him as Doyle, he's a very different character in this, which is cool to see from appreciating an actor's abilities standpoint.
I like that he tries to be a good guy for 1 second. He's like, wait, aren't you with Xander? And she's basically fuck Xander.
Yeah, exactly. She's like, I'm not.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really blame him. It's not his job to keep her faithful to her person.
I mean, that's her bag.
Yeah.
So at this point, they've realized that Ampata is the
mummy
culprit, is the mummy. She goes to kiss him, and I think she's struggling with the choice.
Mm-hmm.
She could have she dispatched the guard really easily.
Right.
She chooses not to wait for a second on him, and I think that's telling.
It does seem like it is under her control. It does seem to be a moment where she does decide to okay, now I am actively sucking life force. So it seems like technically if she had self-control, she could have just kissed and not tried to kill him, but
Yeah. Xander interrupts them, and they're having this dialogue, and I think it's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
How Xander is being, because he's just what's up, what's wrong, he has no idea, and she's clearly struggling with this weight of I'm gonna have to kill people, I don't really belong in this world, I don't and she says, I'm very happy and very sad, and he says, then talk to me, let me know what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's such a sweet dialogue, and I will hate on Xander all day long because damn does he deserve it a lot of times, but this time, this is really sweet.
He handles it really well.
Yeah, wonderful dialogue.
I also really identify with I'm very happy and I'm very sad. I mean, haven't we all felt that?
Sure. I feel like it's a superhuman thing to have multiple feelings all at once.
Yeah. And she probably hasn't had feelings much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Other than
just lying there
boredom.
frozen.
Yeah, she's been a passive observer.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time. Yeah.
And yeah, agreed. Xander, in this moment, Xander seems like he might be a good boyfriend.
Yeah.
I've always thought the lighting in this scene was interesting. The way
Where
there's a
are
yellow
they?
light behind a screen. Yeah, it looks like it's
They're behind a
sunset,
stage
but it's
curtain or something?
Yeah, it looks like, I don't understand.
It must be a supply room.
Yeah, it's somewhere. I agree about the lighting though. And this close-ups of them kissing makes me want to die. I hate watching people kiss close up.
Gross.
So gnarly.
Mm-hmm. So we move. So they get away, and Willow knocking over the cheese tower.
Yeah,
when Buffy comes in, she's like, "We have to find Xander. We have to find Ampata. Ampata's the mummy." And but just after she knocked over the cheese tower, because she can't with her mittens grab the cheese.
And right before that, she goes, "Oh, good." Willow, you're happy she's evil.
Yep.
Not really evil,
Yeah.
but you're happy she's is she evil? We'll talk about it.
Here's the thing though. Why? So she doesn't suck out Xander's life. Well, a little bit she does, right? And then she changes her mind. But then why do Buffy and Willow take him with them to the museum? He's dead weight at that point. You should just leave him to rest and go find the mummy. They just drag him with them.
I hadn't thought of
and
that.
of course it's so he can save the day later. But realistically, why would you do that?
I did have that thought too. Maybe so that they could keep an eye on him.
Maybe he demanded it. Maybe
Well, they
he was
cut
like,
that
maybe they
scene.
did say. Yeah, they did.
I just felt like
Yeah.
it was weird. I was like, no, he's okay. Just you guys go.
I guess I just have to think that they're like maybe they wanted to keep an eye on him because no one else knows what was going
Yeah,
on.
he had like 10% of his soul removed.
Yeah, so maybe
I think the bigger thing that we have to suspend our disbelief about here is just the
back and forth
people
between
get-
the museum and the
Yeah.
bronze.
They get
Like, are they
places
taking
quick,
a bus?
man.
Oh, they're getting there in like Giles's piece of shit
Yep.
car. They're
that
all
was my
crammed
next. That was
into
my
it.
next note because I was trying to think there. I was like, okay, well maybe Buffy took Giles's car, and then maybe, or like maybe she super runs, but then like maybe they take Xander's car back because he says that he's got a car for the night for the dance.
They probably took Xander's car.
Yeah, but
Might
then
just
how
be a
did she
plot
get
hole.
there?
Might just be
Yeah.
a plot hole. Might just be.
It's more likely
It's
Well,
magic.
she has super strength. Maybe she can run too. Who knows?
Carrying all of them. Because they
Carrying-
meet
yeah.
Giles at the museum,
Mm.
right? The three of them
Right,
leave
yeah,
the dance
yeah.
to the museum.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but Buffy super runs. Xander can drive when he has his mom's car, we learn.
Yeah.
Maybe Xander drove
So cool.
Willow. Maybe Ampata also super. Maybe this is just messy.
It's just messy.
You know? Maybe it's just
There
a
are some
filler
things we don't
episode.
think about, and that's one of them.
Yeah. Sunnydale's super small. It's a small town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing that I found very
Yeah.
silly, which I know is part of Buffy's character, so I always think it's very silly when she does these like massive jumps. When she
Mhm.
jumps like 40 feet and
Yeah.
it's usually accompanied by
Yeah.
like a whooshing noise. I'm always like,
Yeah.
yeah.
There is an audible whoosh when she jumps up to
Yeah.
the thing, up to the like platform where Ampata and Giles are. Yeah.
So we have a very noble Xander moment. Very nice. He steps in front of Willow. He says, if you're gonna kill somebody, kill me. Wow. Yeah. I'd like to think I would do that for my friend. Can't really say if I would, but
Both of you, why did you both just shake your heads? I was about to nod emphatically. Are you kidding
you're
me?
a better
Are you
person than
kidding
we
me?
are, apparently.
Two of my dearest friends just told me that they would not.
I would
my
kill
God.
for you. Hundo P. Would I die for you?
Become
You've made that distinction
Become
before,
a
Allie.
Yes, I have.
didn't appreciate it then. I don't appreciate it now. You know what? All right, fine. I'm not becoming a mummy for either of you.
Well-
Just kidding. I still will.
that's nice.
Well, it's just you're just a Hufflepuff,
Thanks.
and that's just the way it is.
It's all of
Whatever.
the mummy like makeup, props, whatever is very good. I think
Yeah.
and when she starts to like suck out Xander's soul again, I guess, and Buffy like rips her off and her arms just come off and there's like
stay.
tendons coming out. It's like so cringe.
Unnecessary.
I mean,
didn't need
it's
it.
like, but it's so good.
Nah, that
because
was
the
totally
show
cool.
Is like gory sometimes, and that was like a type of gore we haven't seen much of.
Mhm.
Mummy gore. I
Yeah,
liked
it was gross in the best way, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Well, I hated it, but I'm glad you both liked it.
Well, I wouldn't love it if it happened to me.
I liked watching it through a television screen.
Well, you don't have to worry about it happening to you because you've already said you won't become a mummy.
it's of no concern.
I'd save you before I would have to die for you.
Great. That's really admirable.
Well, I like that Buffy's. Xander sacrificed himself for Willow.
Yeah.
It was nice. Points
His
for
love is
Xander.
deeper than a romantic love.
Yes.
I think it's a little bullshit, but we do see Xander rise to the occasion many times when he says, if they hurt Willow, I'll kill you. If they, he does have this delightful urge to protect Willow that I appreciate.
Yeah. I think, honestly,
still-
I think if he could wave a wand and be in love with Willow, I think he would.
Agreed.
But you can't. It's like that song. I can't make you love me if you won't.
Agreed.
He would if he could.
I really loved the conversation between Buffy and Xander at the very end when she says he says you gave up your life and she said I had you to bring me back. I loved that moment. One of my favorite last moments that I've seen so far. I thought it was really nice.
It was very sweet.
I did love that conversation. Not so much for that reason, Jordan, but I'm curious to hear more about it. I loved the nuance that they're adding to Ampata here, where they're like it's not super straightforward if she is all that evil.
She was a
Like,
complex monster.
Yeah, Buffy's like
yeah.
expressing a lot of sympathy and like they have sort of like a parallel like a kinship in their sacrifice. And I thought that was
Absolutely.
really nice that Buffy like had sympathy for her. And I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
Can somebody help me relate to this point about the last line Buffy says feels meaningful to me, but I don't know that I quite get it. When she says, Jordan, like you said, like, I didn't have you to bring me back or something, that felt like it was strange. Like, is she saying that Ampata just didn't have nice enough or is
sort
this just a
of,
way
because
to...
she's saying like we were in similar situations. Like Buffy died too, but she had her support. She had someone like Xander, and clearly Ampata didn't have anybody.
She was alone, and Buffy has her Scooby gang.
Yeah, she was surrounded by people who were just like, "Yep, cool, sacrifice the princess."
It feels to me, and I'm only 16 episodes into the show, but I feel a lot of similar themes with like, it feels like a lot of similar themes with Harry Potter, with like the power of friendship and like friendship love, and how that is a really strong, really like the crux of your strength. Like how Buffy was really fucking up before she came to Sunnydale and found this group. It feels similar to me, and that's kind of what she's expressing here.
Yeah, I think so. And I think I brought this up an episode or so ago, that really what does set her apart. Yes, Buffy is amazing and she has her own. She's smart, she's capable, she's strong, all these things. But I do think what sets her apart from previous Slayers is her support system. Because it really doesn't seem like the others had friends.
And it seems like they weren't allowed to, like how the Slayerness is like veiled in secrecy.
Oh, Jordan, just wait.
Oh, sorry. am I like,
no, you're
accidentally
fine.
spoiling things?
No, not at all. But this idea of like a Slayer being like isolated.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, that's the impression I've gotten.
Yeah,
how it was like Willow and Xander only found out because they like overheard in the library, and now she has this support system that she might not otherwise be permitted to have.
100%. Yeah. Like if Giles had his druthers, no one else would know. And it is, but we see several times that, like in the season 1 finale, she's fighting the vamps while Giles and Willow and Xander are getting the people to safety. And same thing happens even like the first episode with the harvest. That's how, or the second episode, I guess, with the harvest, how they, kind of divide and conquer. Maybe she would have saved the day eventually, but it probably would have been higher casualties.
Yeah.
I have 2 things to say. First of all, we can praise, I want to go back to Jordan's thing. Love Harry Potter, can praise Harry Potter while condemning the disgusting transphobia that is from J.K. Rowling. Second of all, I struggle sometimes with this conversation about Buffy is an extraordinary slayer, and I want to like hold that. She does have her friends as strengths, but somehow I feel like if I highlight that, then I'm somehow diminishing how she's an abnormally amazing slayer, and I don't want that to be the message.
I don't think you have to.
Like it's at both ends.
I think,
kind of thing.
yeah, it's a yes and.
Yeah, I don't feel like that either. I don't feel like it's by crediting her support group, you're discrediting her in some way. Like I don't think they're mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I think that like it is support, but if she couldn't hold her own, then they wouldn't.
Like you said, she would have still beaten the master. Right. Would have been more casualties.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It might have taken longer or whatever. Like I think it's they're the 2 things that make her the best Slayer is her power and her support.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like what Spike says in School Hard. I think that's why I brought it up last episode. He says a Slayer with friends. I didn't see that one coming.
I can't wait to see more of Spike. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh my god,
love his accent.
It's gonna be so good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are now in the trivia and closing thoughts portion.
Oh, I had one.
I had one
more note.
We're not there
yet.
When
they were leaving the museum after the like arms and stuff, and Ampata's dead, so they're just gonna leave the mummy body on the floor.
So
think about that. So true. What the hell?
they're just gonna leave that mess.
The arms and tendons are there. Viewers, I'm holding my arms out to the camera as if I'm like enacting what her arms are. And then part of her body just drops and disintegrates as if
like
it's
porcelain.
Yeah. But then these arms are left over. Yeah. What do you do when there's no mummy there, but there are 2
Arms.
Yeah, what does that
And that's
museum
it.
guide think when he shows up at 9 the next day? Like, what the fuck
Yeah,
happened
exactly.
here?
Or the night guard who
Yeah.
like heard some commotion or something. And this predates Night at the Museum, so he doesn't have an explanation.
That's funny. Check the tape.
I don't know. I like because like
Check the tape.
they could have just brought the arms with them and tossed them in a trash can or something, or like tucked them under the mummy that was in the thing.
Yeah, is
'cause
Rodney's body still in the
I was gonna say
case?
presumably
true. There
Rodney is
a
still
mummy
in there.
With
Yeah.
braces,
He has
yeah.
braces,
With braces.
that they still don't know about, but yeah.
That I like to think somebody else is gonna notice as well. There's a whole mess there that they
Sure.
just
That's funny.
Sorry, we'll just tie up the little ends here. Zip it's a bow. We're now in the trivia and closing thoughts. And this episode overall, I don't know that I do like it. It's fun. It helps me not hate Xander a little bit, even though he says some racist shit. But it does feel like one of those filler that it random, like it
It's a
completely doesn't
standalone.
address.
I prefer the term
anything.
standalone, not filler.
Standalone, I guess. But if I was watching this for the first time, I have just finished School Hard.
Yes.
And then
Yes, it would
Noted.
not make the supercut if you were only condensing it to the through line of the season. It would not make
That's
that.
a good way to put
But-
it.
Right, but
Yeah,
as
that is
far
a
as
good way
like
to put it.
character development and storytelling, I still think it's a good episode, which is why I like to say it is a standalone episode, not a filler episode. Because filler, I feel like gives a connotation that like you don't need it.
it's not substance.
I was
Right,
thinking
it is still substance.
You didn't need it, but you're right. It does a lot for Xander and Willow's relationship, kind of. You're
Mhm.
totally right about that.
I think it also goes far when we were talking about that conversation that Buffy and Xander have at the end. They do sort of reference like, yeah, remember when I was into you? Because Xander says, "Wow, present company excluded. Wow, I have terrible taste in women." So it is also going towards Buffy and Xander being friends and being like, okay, we acknowledge you have a thing, you have or had a thing for me, and we're going to continue being friends.
Mm-hmm.
So that I feel like also goes into their character development, their friendship development.
I do like the character development. I don't love Xander. We know you like Buffy. We don't need to keep. We're good.
No, but joking,
you don't have to keep putting her in that position.
But joking about it shows that he's okay with the situation. I didn't see it as him like poking a sore wound.
I
saw it as
agree.
him being like, like the amount of times that I joke about how I was in love with you.
Well,
We used to
I'm
joke about it even before
in
you had
love with
come
you.
out to me, but like I was really stalkery and very in love with you, and now we bring
in
it.
third grade.
I
That's a little
know,
different
but like
than
we
like.
used to joke about it as far as like middle
Then
school.
like I actively wanted to date you at the end of last year. Like I don't know.
I agree with Allie. I
don't
think
know.
it's them showing that like they're cool. Humor is my
Right.
form of like, I don't want to say coping, but like humor is
No,
is
coping's
how
fair.
I like can engage at my best. And I
Yeah,
think that's
like,
kind
we're
of what they're
good.
doing. Like he's like, "Oh, I had a crush on you." I didn't love this episode, but the more we talk about it, the more I've gotten out of it. And I found that was true when we were doing podcast diaries too. Like I would be like, "Ugh, this book sucked." And then we would talk about it and I'd be like, "Actually, this book had some really valuable stuff." But coming off of episode 3, it's hard
Sure.
to beat. That was a great episode. And I just wanted to say
Mhm.
my final thought is that I am just so grateful to y'all for opening me up to the world of Buffy because I'm really enjoying it. I love the feminist messages and all the friendship stuff, and I'm just really having a great time watching it and listening along. So thank you both very much.
We're both smiling.
I was
from
gonna say,
ear to
listeners, we are
ear.
beaming because we're just so happy. That was exactly our point in doing this podcast, other than just us having time to talk. And we were like, well, if no one listens, we still had fun making it. But that is that is the goal, and that makes me so happy. So mission
Also, shout out
accomplished.
to my mom, who's a big fan as well.
Oh my God, Folly Mom.
Hi.
She texts me after every single episode.
God,
It's so
that's
nice and
precious.
gives me
She's
such a
literally
such
the
a-
most wonderful woman in the world. And
love
She
that.
is such
she
a
also
fucking
enjoys the
gem.
podcast.
God
So
damn it.
shout out.
Yay. Had she seen the show before? Is she
Nope.
watching along or is she
Nope.
just listening?
She's just listening.
Just listening.
I think that's what my grandma's doing too. Hi, Grandma. My grandma Arlene mentioned the other day that she's been listening to the podcast as well. I don't know if she's watching along or if she ever watched Buffy, but she is pretty cool. So,
That's so
hi,
sweet.
Grandma.
Treasure
Love
your grandma's
you.
friends. That's
My
precious.
parents also listen. They will at some
I'm gonna
point.
call my grandma.
At some point next season, they'll be on because there is a very parent focused episode. That,
fun.
whether
I
they like
love
it or
that.
not, Julie is very excited to be on the podcast. Bruce is less so, but suck it up.
My mom refused to come
Yeah,
on my
Bruce,
podcast.
deal with it. Really? Folly Mom, we're gonna have to talk about
she said no
that.
multiple times.
Folly Mom, we'll get you on to talk about that.
Yes.
That's really funny.
It'll happen.
Nick, what are your closing thoughts?
Well, okay, so this dialogue about standalone episode versus filler episode is helpful.
Yeah, that's a good distinction.
I think we've successfully condemned the problematic parts about dressing up as somebody's culture, while also saying, Xander, you were pretty good during this episode.
Like pains you to say that.
Fine,
He
if I have to
reluctantly
admit it.
admitted. I do think this episode could exist today, just would be written a little differently.
Yeah, the dance would have like an 80s theme or something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That's how to...
Right.
Yeah, that's how
or
to
like
age this,
come
yeah.
as your ancestors or something.
Yeah, if you
we
wanted to
could
make
still
it
have an
closer.
Incan mummy. It's just some of the... And, you know, Xander would have addressed her a little bit more respectfully. Not saying "ay caramba."
Yeah, I was about to say the I caramba was a bit much.
Bruh. Bruh.
But I do think that overall big points still could exist today, even if it were new today.
I agree.
Well, Allie, do you want to close us out?
Sure. I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us for our episode today, and we hope you'll join us next time where we'll discuss Season 2, Episode 5, Reptile Boy. I'm excited for that one. Getting back to the angel of it all.
Oh, yay.
I have that's funny. We're going to give an extra special thank you to our inaugural guest host.
I'm so honored to be the first.
Jordan. I meant to say this before. This is going to be shocking to everybody. This is also not my favorite episode. And I was like, where could we... Jordan, come in for this episode, please. Please do it. Spice things up here. Help me relate to it differently.
I'm touched that you hoped I could spice it up. I hope I did.
Sure did. Thank you both, as always, for your incredible commentary. Jordan, I want you to plug your various endeavors. Where can people
I would
find
love
you?
to plug my various endeavors. I actually have one endeavor, and it's called the Podcast Diaries, as mentioned previously. And we have a really ridiculous array of social media handles because Podcast Diaries was taken on almost everything. So on Facebook, you can find us at The Podcast Diaries. On Instagram, we're at The Podcast Diary 1. On Twitter, we are at The Podcast Diary. Gmail, thepodcastdiary@gmail.com. And you can find all this and more on our website at www.thepodcastdiaries.com. And I just wanted to say thank you both again so much for having me. This has been an absolute delight.
It was absolutely our pleasure. And folks can find us over on our email, tabularasabpod@gmail.com. That's tabularasabpod@gmail.com. And you can also say hello to us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Tabula Rasa B Pod. That's B as in boy. Or B as in bitches. That's a way better thing to say. And we'd be so thrilled if you'd leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Especially iTunes or Apple Podcasts, I guess, because that's where everybody looks to for rankings. So if you want to help us get rankings, go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review.
I found a stealth review on Apple. Actually, I'm gonna read this. This isn't in the notes.
Like it's deviating from the outline.
Yeah, Jordan left us a review. Who a lot of people wouldn't know it was Jordan.
I don't know
but
why you
because
think it
I
was
know
me. It wasn't
Jordan.
me.
I
It's
know
just
it's
a fan.
Whatever. This review is from Unicorn Rainbow Manatee, who, if anybody knows Jordan, that's right. She left us a review. Well, this person left us a review, a 5-star review that said, best podcast ever. Never knew I could love something so much. Listening is like hanging out with friends and talking about your favorite TV show.
Aw.
There's another review from another person who's going to be a guest later this season named Phil. I love you, Phil.
Well, that wasn't for me, but they sound really cool, so I'm going to try to get in touch with them.
Yeah, they sound uniquely brilliant. Allie, we've plugged some social media, but we haven't plugged your social media. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DaughterPick, DaughterPick. And you can find me on TikTok at Future Black Cat. And if you want to send me monies, because please, starving artist here, and classes and agent meetings are expensive. So you can contribute to that at buymeacoffee.com/AlliePress. Also, straight up, my Venmo is just Allie-Press, AlliePress.
Yes, girl, get it. Absolutely. All of those social media handles are going to be in the description. Allie and Jordan, it has been such a pleasure. I love you both so fucking much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love you most.
Love you both. This has been wonderful. Everyone out there, make proud choices. Bye-bye.
Bye. Tabula Rasa, bitches, is hosted by Allie Press and Nick Mercer, with music by Inflaton Cult, artwork by Charlotte Fleming Design, and consultation by Evo Terra.